Hello, everybody, and welcome to Oregon Weight and Wellness, our live session here with Rachel Matthews. Hi, Rachel.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah, and we are joining you live on What's for Dinner. And lately we've been talking about ideas, thoughts, maybe some quotes from motivational speakers, things like that, or to help keep us engaged. Because I don't know about you, Rachel, but I find for my clients and sometimes myself even, and I'm going to just relate to this today, that sometimes it's just hard putting one foot in front of the other, staying engaged and motivated, encouraged, excited. And getting a little bit more motivation when you just feel spent sometimes. Right.
Yeah. That's one of the things I love about conversations like this, because I know for me, I walk away from these conversations with you, with the coaching clients. At 12:30 we have our group coaching session that we do live on Zoom. I walk away from those conversations energized, motivated, inspired. I'm the coach, but I get just as much, as much more. So I think one of the ways to really, when we're feeling that like blah, and it's hard to put one foot in front of the other, we gotta connect. We gotta listen to an inspiring podcast. We gotta have a good, positive conversation with our coach, with our doctor, with our friend. We've gotta fill our mind with something that feels interesting. I know for me, whenever I kind of just fill my brain with an interesting topic, I kind of go, I just kind of feel energized, like to do the next thing. So I'm glad we're here together, because we get to feed off of each other's energy and create synergy here. And then hopefully people watching and listening at home or at work or on the treadmill or whatever you're doing right now, hopefully you're feeling our energy, and there's a transfer of energy from one person to the next. And I hope they feel that.
That's so good. That's so good. And that kind of makes me think about the concept that we're not supposed to do this life thing all by ourselves. Yeah. We need support from other people. Yeah. That's okay. That's not a weakness. That is part of our human condition. And so I just appreciate that. And sometimes I get as much support from the people that I think I'm serving than they're receiving from me. So it's just such a mutually beneficial encouragement.
It really is. To kind of drive this this isn't even the main topic of our conversation today.
Right.
I love what just comes up for us. But I was just listening to some TED Talks with Brené Brown, who is known for her work on empathy, vulnerability, shame. And she talks about, she's a researcher, and she talks about our brains are designed for connection. We are designed for connectivity, and shame cannot survive when there's connection, being seen, being heard, when there's empathy. Shame exists in darkness, in secrecy, in hiding. So the way that, just her, she talks to business people and Fortune 500 companies, and they're talking about marketing and how do I best. She's like, are you connecting? Are you connecting? Are you vulnerable? So it really comes down to this core. All of our creativity, all of our growth, it all comes from, first, we have to be vulnerable and connect.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I love that.
Yeah, that's so good. That's right. And that's one of the 5 questions that I try to ask people when they first start making a change, whatever that change is, So one of the 5 is, who is my support? Who is my support? Because change doesn't happen in the vacuum or on the island. Right. So good. Well, that's great. And one of the things that I wanted to address today is time management. So this wasn't a quote from a particular person, but this is a question. And here, let me get to it and read it. and it says, does my time allocation match my priorities in life? Let me read that again. Does my time allocation match my priorities in life?
Mhm.
Mm. Yeah, because I might say my health is a priority, but is that reflected in how I choose to spend my time?
Right. And we all allocate our time. We do it whether we're choosing to or not, but we allocate time to all sorts of things. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's actually in our calendar. Sometimes it's just by habit. Um, a lot of time is kind of quote unquote wasted during the day. And so how am I allocating my time? I think a great activity, a quick exercise you can do is just take a day or preferably a full week. And just every time you're doing something or you switch to a different activity, jot it down. What are you doing and how much time you're spending on it? So you can learn, where am I allocating time? Where are all of my hours going? And then we can go, does this reflect? So then stand back and go, if you didn't know who I was and you looked at this chart, could you say what you believe this person values in life?
Oh, wow.
Right? If you looked at their time allocation, you would say, oh, this person believes in this, or this person values this. Is it work? Is it your family? Is it your social media? Is it gardening? Is it exercise? I mean, right? What are the top things that kind of float up? And that can be a really great eye opener.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that word eye opener, Rachel, because you're really not, we have to be careful. Like, oh, I'm such a bad person. I just wasted 3 hours in front of the TV. Well, maybe that's part of your downtime, but maybe, was that the downtime that your body really needed, or did your body, would you get better downtime from a different activity, kind of a thing? So,
it'd be more restorative. Is there a more restorative type
Thank you. Yeah.
of downtime? Yeah. And we're quick to say my screen time, my TV time, my laying on the couch time, my avoiding that we call all of it downtime. We call all of it. And really, it's good to separate. Is this just my numb out time? And this is, let's really call it what it is. And are you being restored from that downtime?
Right.
And
is it doing what you think it's doing for you?
Yes. Do you finish that time feeling restored, refreshed, rejuvenated, energized? Or is it just a form of avoidance, procrastination, overwhelm? These are, and again, you're not judging here or saying we should be looking at ourselves and criticizing. It's open your eyes to what you say you want, and how could you maybe shift some things in your schedule to change those priorities?
Right. Or what could you do a little differently to, because I'm thinking, to your point, that that the downtime probably isn't quite as restorative as maybe we're giving it credence, especially if it's from are people using their downtime, Rachel, to watch our
This is self-care time.
Yes, that's right.
No, this might be entertainment. This might go in the entertainment category. Hopefully this goes into the educational inspiration. And you're doing this while you're on the treadmill or you're at lunch for work. I don't know, but it's a good question, because what do you receive from it? Is it valuable? I hope it is.
It valuable? Right. Yeah. So I love that exercise, and maybe we can challenge. I'm going to challenge myself. Write out my schedule for the day. And it's not like we have to fill every second of every moment.
No.
But every second is spent on something. And And so am I giving or am I receiving in that moment to keep me going?
Yeah. I know for me, a lot of times that downtime is, I approach it because of a sense of overwhelm, or I don't know what to do next, or maybe I am pretty exhausted, but I would oftentimes feel better accomplishing something in that down. So maybe I switch tasks. I'm no longer working, or I'm no
Right.
longer out. Maybe I switch tasks to give my brain and my body a little bit of a break, but switch into something else. So
Right.
it might feel a lot better to be productive. Go for a
Right.
walk, empty the dishwasher,
Yeah.
do the thing that's going to make you in an hour, you're going to feel really proud of that version of yourself.
Mhm.
Like, thanks for
Mhm.
doing that. You just made me feel so much better. The house is less cluttered, or I feel energized. I met my goal. And really, these, like you said, every second is spent doing something. And when we think about what we probably really want to be doing, like doing that next little task or goal, it doesn't take as much time as we think it does,
Right.
right? We might spend 15 minutes thinking about what we should do next, or fighting within ourselves about it, and really just get up and do something, even if
Mhm.
it's 5 minutes, and you're going to feel better
Right.
about it.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Yeah, that's good. So, yeah, so that's right. Because it's not, sometimes I think a lot of times what I hear people say is, well, I just feel lazy, or I'm lazy. And I really don't think it's a laziness.
No, I
It's
agree
more,
with you.
yeah.
It's not. Yeah.
hmm It's more of the overwhelm maybe that you're talking about, or that the brain needs to switch to something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that something else, to your point, could be productive, like organizing my sock drawer.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that lazy word, we tend to really criticize ourselves. It seems to be a
Mhm.
pretty negative word. Our culture doesn't really value being lazy. And the truth is, there's a reason we feel like we need to just do nothing. So we either haven't eaten well enough today to energize our day. We didn't sleep well the day before. There's
Mhm.
typically going to be a competing need.
Right. That's
Mhm.
right. That's right. So, yeah. So the challenges, I'm just going to put it out there. The challenge
Okay.
is what you said, and I'm going to do it myself.
Mhm.
Write down what you're doing through the day. Um, and then, step back and ask yourself the question, is how you're spending the time. Um, does that, uh, um, sorry, I just got, does that reflect the values that you have?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So good. Yeah. So, we're going to, yeah, I'm sorry. Somebody just popped in the door here. So
Yeah, that's
a
okay.
little
I can
distracted.
tell you saying hello to somebody.
So, anyway, right. So I'm trying a little different thing. So I'm kind of switching gears here. The what's for dinner. I just in the last week I've shifted the time frame of my eating schedule.
Mm,
So yeah, so I'm trying to do my bigger meal earlier in the day. So I just had, right before I came on, I just had my kale salad thing.
mhm.
Um, and I used some my plain yogurt. And so I don't have a dinner plan today, Rachel, because I'm trying to not eat after actually 2:30. So
Wow.
I know. And so
Yeah.
I'm shifting my little intermittent fasting
So,
to the earlier hours, and seeing what that, because yeah, so I'm seeing what that feels like.
I'm
Just to
curious.
start.
Yeah, what got you interested in doing that? I'm really
Yeah,
curious.
yes, I read this thing, and so I'm very well, a couple of things. I got to my reach out weight after a couple of weeks of more stress, poor sleep, travel.
Yeah.
And so I'm not beating myself up over that, but I'm saying, okay, what kind of things am I doing or do it differently? And then what am I not doing that I had been doing
Yeah.
that helped maintain my weight? So I'm changing things up a little bit. I'm shifting the intermittent fasting earlier in the day to see
Yeah.
if the same calories early in the day affect me differently than calories later in the day. So
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm doing it that way. So I'm having that bigger meal around 11:30. So I'm eating early because I usually don't eat until even afternoon. But
Right.
so I'm eating a early morning breakfast, and then I'm eating like it's, I don't know, 6:30, because I get up at 5:15, Rachel.
Mhm.
And then so 6 o'clock breakfast, and then 11 o'clock, and then something light at 2:30.
Yeah.
So, mhm.
Yeah.
So I haven't planned that out yet, so I don't know what's gonna happen. But what are you having for what's for
Well,
dinner for you?
it's so funny that you're talking about that because I've done recently the exact same thing. And I don't, I heard somebody talking about breakfast and how, we talk a lot about intermittent fasting and that time restricted feeding window. But most people, when they first started, they finish dinner around 8 or 9 or 10, and then they go these long hours overnight and into the day, and they don't break their fast until noon. And while that's good, and the longer you extend your fasting window, the more health results you get from it.
Right.
It's actually best if we're finishing our meal much earlier in the evening. That's actually consistent with our circadian rhythm. So that's what I've been doing also. I'm trying to finish eating around 5 has been my window. And it's two-part. One is because I want to see what happens when I start to eat more traditional, like breakfast time. For me, yeah, I'm up at 5, but I don't think I would quite eat breakfast at 6. I'm probably more like 7 or 8, depending on when my exercise hits. So I want to time that well. But what I want to see what will happen if I shift all of my calories to this heavier in the earlier part of the day. And the second value that I'm looking for is that I typically overeat at night. If I'm going to overeat, that's when I snack. That's when I have dessert. My dinner extends, like for an hour and a half. Still munching on things. Yeah. And if I have a cutoff for a fasting window, for some reason, I'm much more able to honor that with myself than if I tell myself no dessert or no treats after.
Right. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah. So I'm taking my own advice. Yeah. Kitchen is closed. We're talking about this in Tiny Habits right now. And I think it just occurred to me, if something's not working, I have to totally change it up. I have to change the context, the cues. I have to change my environment. I need to change my motivation so that I can change my behavior. And so all of the cascade of events that happen in the evening just set me up for that overeating at night. And I need to jumble that all up. I need to change.
Right. Yeah. Good. Okay. Well, thanks for sharing that. Isn't that interesting? I mean, we haven't talked about this until now, but we're just kind of both kind of doing that. So interesting. And I have been, I mean, I haven't thought about it that way, Rachel, but so it's easier to honor one way of saying it versus another. Like, I can't have this versus I'm finished eating.
Right. This is my window. Yeah. For some reason, for me, that's what's worked. And so I'm trying that with this. So just like you, I just ate my really big lunchtime meal, which was this giant salad with tons of tofu and sauerkraut and dried soybeans and mushroom. I mean, it was just a loaded, amazing salad. But then, like you, I'm like, okay, will I just have some yogurt and berries? Is some yogurt and berries for dinner? Will I try? I don't quite know. I'm playing around with what will that look like then.
Right. Yeah. I know it's going to have protein in it. Because I think, and so that's the other curious thing, is having that protein early in the day going to help with that evening, looking for something. And then how am I going to use my time?
Right. Yeah. Because all of a sudden you're not cooking all night long and cleaning. It's a total shift. It really is.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, let's stay in touch about all of that. Okay. And and then when we come back together, maybe we'll talk about our time allocation and that sort of thing.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So the challenge is, how's this new window of eating going for you and I? But then the challenge for us and for others is time allocation. Track where your time is and see what you notice. Just let it be an eye-opening. What do you notice about how you're spending your time?
That's right. All right. Well, thanks so much. Great discussion, Rachel. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Bye, everybody. Take care.